is an elongated one for almost everybody because by now we should be resting or doing one or two things in our respective homes, but because we just want to push behind beyond the boundary. That is why.
Hello, good
Please,
evening, everyone. Please, has the class comments
yes, we have started. Can't you hear
or
me,
has the
please?
lecture commenced rather?
Oh,
No,
hello,
the
hello,
doctor came up and said they should give him some time.
hello. Please,
So we are still waiting for him to
can you
have
hear
his
me
lecture.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, all right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, doctor.
I welcome you. Thank you so much. I welcome everyone to this evening class, and I believe we had a nice week, even though the week is seemed to be a long one, because the fact that we're in the class this evening is an indication that is a long week. So the week has not ended for some of us. I welcome you to this evening class. In the meantime, I just want us to quickly look at the roster that was shared on our platform and make sense of it so that individuals will know where they belong when that session begins. By now, I want to believe that almost everybody have access to the dashboard and also those materials that were uploaded. I want to quickly share the screen so that we can see SLR. Yeah. So, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, doctor, I can see your screen, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, we curated the names that were submitted with discipline in the group with the aim of categorizing people based or grouping people based on their disciplines and the areas we believe they can work together. We chose not to suggest topics for them, but in each of the group, people can work together based on the topic they all agree on. And as we said during our previous class, systematic literature review requires the effort of two or more people. So, we have grouped all those who indicated interest, and of course, anyone can choose to join another group. It is not it is not compulsory that you have to stay in that group. And so when we explain how to go about systematic literature review, which we are going to have, in one of the, just we're going to fix a date for that, and we're looking at either one of the Sundays and one of the Sundays, so that we can have like maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes or thereabouts, and we use that to explain how to go about the systematic literature review and how people can go about it for the purpose of those who join this call for the purpose of systematic literature review and those who also want to learn how to write it. So basically, the names are grouped, and a pod. When we say pod is a group of people with the same interest on a topic, people that share the same interest in a topic. So that's what we mean by pod. And the roster are the responsibility of individuals, how things will roll in terms of, okay, who does this and all that. And of course, the charter is also embedded. So basically, we have the first group comprised of 2 people, and we have their discipline in front of their names. So they are to propose the question or the topic they want to write. And of course, the Port Charter talks about what is your goal, which should be expressed on the right side. The review question: are you going the way of Pico or Spider? These are frameworks. These are, for example, in Pico is very common in health sciences, while Spider is common in social science. So your field, you will determine and choose what you want to use. Of course, there is still another version, which is the Pico. In the Pico, we have small o. So we'll explain that when we get that. When we get there, then targeted journal. Which journal are you targeting? Then we'll make suggestion of the database you can set to get results that may be useful for your review. And of course, you would have to determine what are the inclusion and the exclusion criteria for the study you want to embark on based on the focus of that study deriving from the topic. Then there are different modalities, different methods of ascertaining the quality of the papers or the articles that you eventually download to be included in the study, which will later be reviewed. But before the final review, you would have to ascertain, is this article quality enough? There are parameters that can be used or that are being used to judge each article, the quality of an article. And some of them are MMAT, JBAI, CASP, ROB2, and AMSTAR 2. There are, the previous one was AMSTAR without the 2, but an upgrade is the second one. So you would have to get familiar with those skills, if I can call them that name. They are to judge, or they are to use to benchmark articles to be sure that, okay, is this article qualified to be part of our review? And of course, you have to decide what type of synthesis you want to carry out. Are you carrying out meta-analysis? Is it going to be a narrative review? Is it going to be are you going to do a thematic analysis of the data that you gather, or you do a realist kind of synthesis? So of course, the role coordinators would have to be named, and a group of people may be dedicated to the search, if not everybody. Who is going to do the searching? Who will do the searching in a large group? Who will do the screening of the articles? Is everybody or just a group of people? Because responsibility would have to be assigned. Then data extraction lead. Who is leading the data extraction? Synthesis lead. Who is leading in, when you have extracted the data? So when you want to begin to synthesize, without using the meta-analysis formats, narrative format, thematic format, or realistic format, realist formats. So who does that will have to be highlighted. And the cadence simply means how often do you meet? How do you want to meet? You decide on that one, for how long. And of course, the milestone, you would have to arrange or agree on time, on timelines. This is what we want to achieve within this period of time. Within the next 2 weeks, we want to, have a title, have the protocol you want to follow, and all the rest of them. Then, authorship order policy. Yeah, as a matter of fact, authorship, the order of authorship is always determined by who does the most in the work. So the person that worked the most, his or her name come first, and you will have to decide on that. And what dates are you looking at as your target for submission? So that is the essence of this sheet that we shared with you, and we share it with the aim that it will give those who are interested the ample time to network. But the challenge currently will still be that we still have to create a group for that purpose, or individual would have to create a group. If you want to lead the group, or the group you belong to, you can create and you meet. But I think it would be better that we have a centralized group That's what we are looking at. Let's have a centralized group where people will join. Then they can from there identify themselves. If they want to create groups, they can go ahead and create groups for themselves, because we cannot use the current group for that purpose. There will be a lot of out of focus discussion, so we don't want that to happen. So let's see what happens between now and Monday. We come up with a group that's when the moment you see your name, you can put into that group. We will give you a feedback on Monday about that. I hope my explanation about this is clear. Any question, please? Hello? Any question?
Question, Doc. Except that some of us actually wrote without our discipline. I don't know where you categorize that group.
You did what?
I indicated interest in the SLR, but the discipline I didn't really include. I just said I was interested.
That's why we have the last group. The last group are the group for people who did not indicate their discipline. Let me scroll down. I'm scrolling down to that page now. If you look at this page, you will see that on this page you see unassigned discipline. So discipline is needed. So this set of people did not indicate the group they want to belong, because there are no discipline with which they can be assigned groups. I hope that is clear. So that simply means you may have to, maybe between now and Monday, indicate which group your discipline, then we can now assign you to a group.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, Doc.
You're welcome, sir. All right.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm with you, ma'am.
Good evening, sir. Good morning.
Good evening, ma'am.
Those that you have allocated into groups, how do you check for one group? Like me, I cannot see even the way the font is too small for me. So please, which group am I?
The document is made available to everyone on the dashboard. You can download it on the dashboard. So, yeah, it's available to everyone. I'm just alluding to it now because people may be asking, which is normal, what is the essence of it? How do we go about it? So I'm just giving a brief on how we're going to go about it. Download it on your spreadsheets. You will see your name. On your dashboard, you will see your name there. So don't mind the fact that it is small now. You will have when you download it, you can maximize it to the most comfortable size for you. Then you can get your name from it. All right. You're welcome. Yeah. So colleagues, let's move into what we have for today. And last week or during the week, we shared it with everyone via the dashboard also, the entire slides for last week presentation. For Wednesday presentation. There we have the rules guiding the research method section of an article. And we actually took time to address the rudiments, the basic things that are necessary for an author to know in terms of what are the reviewers and the editors looking for when you submit your journal, your manuscripts. What are their interests? And we also went as far as talking about some areas that though look basic but are necessary. That is, how do you identify research approach? How do you know which research method is suitable for your topic? how do you link your research? How can your research question or objective be a pointer to the type of research method you can use in different fields? And we did that for virtually all the fields. If you can avail yourself the copy we uploaded, if you download it, you will see your discipline there. Virtually all the disciplines are covered. You see your discipline there. From there, you can make sense of the material and see how it can inform your current study, as you write. Another thing I want to actually still talk about is the fact that we have made the article writing function of our platform available to everyone from the title till you get to the method section. I'm trying to open it now for us to see that everybody have access to it. And our expectation is that by now people will take advantage of it. Some of the things we have been teaching in the class, they are also available on this platform. If you want to write a research article, regardless of your field, the moment you get to the field, please, are you seeing my screen at Article Modeling Factory? Is it visible to you?
Yes, Doctor.
All right. Maybe because we don't keep sounding it, people are you're not taking advantage of it. You see, one of the reasons why people find it difficult to write is because they don't know what follows what. It doesn't mean that they are dumb. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that people are not bright, they're not brilliant. No, that's not what we are saying. But what we are saying is that people run into writer's block, not only because they run out of idea, but because they don't know how different parts of article connect to one another. And that is the essence of this platform. Each of the discipline has templates from the title to the references. So when you click, when you choose your discipline, just start from article title. You will see tips that can enable you to write. Read those tips, let them inform your writing. And if you already have a manuscript that you have sketched before now, you can improve the writing using the tips that we have on this platform. With that, you can be sure that whatever you are writing, you are being guided by those tips that are available on the platform. So make use of it to write. And we even have examples of how to go about it, that have been populated. So whatever you are writing, you can model it, after that. That is the essence. So please take advantage of this. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will have to cover all the sections, because if what you are writing does not necessitate that you cover theoretical framework, for example, you may not write anything there. But the basic ones are necessary for everyone. For example, the article title, the abstract, the keyword introduction, research question or hypothesis or objectives, the literature review. It depends on how you want to go about it, whether you want to infuse it into the body or you want to make use of it you want to do it separately. It all depends. The method session is very, very, very necessary for everybody. And of course, the result and discussion and conclusion session. It depends on whether you want to merge your implication with the conclusion or not, or merge it with the recommendation, whichever way. Even the limitation, it depends on whatever the journal you are writing for. That's what it will dictate how they will be crafted, finally. But if you are able to detail them on this platform, you can be sure that it won't be difficult for you to synthesize them to comply with the requirements of the journal you are writing for. So that is that about the article modeling factory. Take advantage of it to do your work. So that is that about that. We are going into our today's class, and what we have for today is about how you present your results or your findings. Presentation of results and findings in research also needs skills. Some journals have their structures. In fact, all journals have their structures, while some journals make it open. Some journals allow you to present your results or your findings one after the other, meaning you present result first and you present the discussion next to it. And from our elementary research method during our first degree or second degree, we're made to understand that while presenting results, you only present the results. No elaborate discussion. You just tell the story as it is. You show. Tell the story as it is. And for those doing quantitative study, in most cases, the descriptive statistics come first, followed by the inferential statistics. For those doing qualitative, in fact, these days it is possible for you to have descriptive table even in your results section, meaning that if you want to tell us the demography of those you interview, if is required, or if you feel it will tell more story or give insight, then you can use a table to represent the demography or information that can tell more about those that you have interviewed. It is accepted, even though qualitative is not number oriented, it's not numerically oriented. But nevertheless, I've seen articles published in high impact journals where people use table to represent demographic information. So one can make use of that. And if you are doing mixed method, it is also necessary that you give an overview of the descriptive statistics that can give one into give an insight into the demography of your respondents or your participants. Very, very important. So when you are presenting, you don't tell story in that findings section. You only do that in the discussion section. That's where comprehensive analysis of what the result means comes up. And that is where you are able to locate the work in the body of existing literature, whether it's contradicting previous findings in the previous studies, or is corroborating what has been found out. That is this what we have just talked about now is applicable in all fields. So that session is very, very important. Just a minute, please. I want to disable mic. All right. So let's move forward. So we want to look at data presentation, how to clearly show the information, how we can look at numbers, and how we can use visuals to tell stories. So statistics has shown us that about 20 to 50% of Desk rejection in most cases are because the data are not well presented. Not that the research is not good in itself, but data are not well presented. When you have poor tables and the figures are confusing, not to talk of discussion that do not, one cannot make sense of. So, what are those things that the editors want to see when they receive your manuscripts, particularly in the results section? They are looking for clarity. If they look at the table, can they make sense of it quickly? Does it tell a story? Then the results, how you presented it, are you honest about it? Are you showing the required level of results? Amount of information that is needed, data that is required. You see, I was discussing with a colleague long time ago, and one of the reviewers responded to him by saying, you are trying to squeeze water out of the rock. What does that mean? The interpretation of this is, these data seem not to be enough, but you are trying to make it look as if it's big. The stories you have told, the explanations you have made is much more bigger than the results that you presented. And people do that for one reason, particularly those who are converting their PhD thesis into articles. That guy wrote about 8 articles from his PhD thesis. 8 articles. So he has written and now he became so miserly with the information. So editors can pick if you are not supplying the total information, but you are trying to make it look as if you have sufficient data. They can tell, and even reviewers can tell if you are not supplying enough data. Then the visuals has to be good. Editors want visuals that are good in terms of table, in terms of figure, in terms of charts that you are using. And of course, the later part has to do with discussion. But at this level, the kind of discussion you are doing at the level of findings and results are descriptive of the table or the chart that you have. I'm equally aware that those in engineering, sometimes their results, their figures come in the area of results. They have their figures are included. They do use figures. Let me see if I can have one now. They do make use of figures in the area of, at the discussion session. I've seen a lot like that. So if that is what the convention of the journal is and your field, make use of figures in the results in the discussion session. So, but for people who are not in that field, you need to be abreast of the requirements in your field so that you don't go and present tables and you don't present tables, figures, and charts in the discussion session. No. Another important thing that we also need to bear in mind is the fact that, I think I've closed it, is the fact that at the discussion session, you don't bring results there. You only make sense of the results, discuss it in the body of the existing literature, and see if it agrees with them or disagree with them. Just a minute. I'm trying to open something now. Okay, this is Agric, for example. This is an Agric, an article in Agricultural Sciences, and right here the author presents the result. This is let me show you the beginning of the article. Rearing livestock on the edge of secondary cities, examining small ruminants, production of the fringes of Wa in Ghana. That is a town in Ghana. Now, if you move down, you will see that while presenting the results, they only talked about the results. There is nothing like citations. There is nothing like, elaborate discussion that is, outside presentation of what the result is. So if that is what the journal you settle for wants, go ahead and make use of that. And of course, you can see the results are presented using tables, using pictures, figures now. And when we get to the discussion session, there is nothing like the table, there's nothing like figure, there's nothing like charts. It is just straight to the discussion of what was found out. This is very important. This might seem basic to a number of us who are in this call, but experience has shown through review and from what I have seen, and for the fact that we all started from somewhere, it is very possible, particularly those who are doing their postgraduate studies right now, that this might not be clear to them 100%. So when you are discussing your results, there is no need of presentation of discussion, nor of references or alluding to previous studies. There are two different sessions, except that journal allows for the two. And for those doing previous studies, doing postgraduate studies, you need to take note of this. All right, back to our slide. Now, what are those things that go into the results section? We have said it. Show what was found. No explanation. It's like showing somebody a picture and the person is wondering what is going on here. The picture is the result, but the person may not get may not get the complete explanation. It is in the discussion session you now begin to tell further stories. That is how it works. So what exactly do you include in the results session? The main findings, numbers and statistics. Now, when we talk about the main findings, it is possible you have several findings, but the major finding that speaks directly to your study is those are the ones that should be reported. We have primary and secondary findings. Primary findings are the major findings that speak to the objective, to the research question, to the hypothesis, while the secondary results or findings are those that complement what the main findings or the major results are. So let the number speak for themselves. Let the statistics speak for themselves. The reason we are doing this is because some of us give our work to statisticians to analyze for us. The essence of this class is for you to know what is expected and what you need to have in that presentation. In that result or findings or the analysis that your analyst did for you. In some cases, I have seen situations, in fact, it happened on many occasions, that the moment you contract your article your data to an analyst or statistician, they will be the one, particularly those who are doing PhD and masters, they will be the one to write the entirety of chapter 4 and chapter 5. I've seen that happen before. But I took this thing upon myself when I was doing my masters, that no, I will have to learn how to do this work by myself, at least to a level that can enable me present my data in my thesis. Because I saw that during defense, that period, whenever people are defending, you will see that only 2 or 3 people in the panel understand what data analysis is all about. So the majority of people in the panel really don't know. And when you get to that level, after people have asked questions here and there from the introduction up to chapter 3, once they get to data analysis, then everybody backs out. A very good number of people will back out. And what really prompted me to actually try to learn was that how can I be presenting a result I don't know anything about? Even interpreting those results was a problem. So if you are writing an article now, and maybe perhaps you have been contracting your data analysis out to data analysts, there is a need for you to know how to, even if you cannot interpret, sorry, if you cannot analyze, you should be able to interpret this data. That, okay, what does this number, what do they mean? What are the implications? Is this guy presenting the right thing for me? We have seen situations whereby analysts mistakenly gave somebody else data and a result to another person. So if such happen and you don't know how these things, how to interpret them becomes an issue. So that is where we're talking about what are those things that you need in your article when you are writing a manuscript. And a basic understanding on how to interpret them and where they should belong or where they should feature in your article really matters, because it is not all the output that SPSS churn out that your analyst might give you. They may use their discretion and say this should be good for you. But in the actual fact, what they think is good for you might not be able to tell the story you need to tell the editor or the reviewer. Hence, the need for you to know what are those basic things. While I was preparing for this class, I saw something. I saw, I made a discovery, and I was like, not really a discovery, but I noticed something and I laughed. And I was like, if I present this to this class now, this evening, people will think, how this is just too basic. We are still going to see it. It has to do with the mode, median, and the mean. They are so basic that we did in primary school, maybe primary school or secondary school, JSS1 or thereabouts. But little do we realize that there are type of analysis that you will do that those 3 M's we have to feature, because they will respond to your research question, as we are going to see, in a way that can tell a story that, it is then you will know that, median, mean, or mean particularly, or mode. Okay. Let me just look at, let's look at something. Just a moment. I think I should share this now. I saw a systematic literature review in engineering, and what that person used, what the author used in analysis is more or less like mode. The person was using okay, just a minute, where are you? Was alluding to the fact that that they are going to make use of this method of data analysis because it is believed that the 20%, okay, the 80-20 rule was what they used to analyze that data. And then the rationale was the fact that the articles that have the highest number of citations. What is mode? Mode is the highest frequency. So the article that has the highest level of citations would be the one to determine. What they want to determine is an importance of a particular stuff. I want to see it now. Sorry, I'm just trying to get there in a moment. What they want to know is the importance. And they want to find out through systematic review that of a truth, for us to establish that this is important, we need to look at studies that have the highest citation, that also acclaim that this is the importance of this. So what am I trying to explain in essence is that Sometimes some of those things that we think are basic, by the time we look at it in, okay, by the time we look at it in the way they apply in our writing, we will marvel that, oh, so as little as main, mode, median sound, okay, this is it, I found it. Look at this study. Let me find out if you can see my screen, please. Please, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, doctor, I can see you speak.
All right, thank you. So, now as basic as mean, mode, median seems, this systematic literature review that is published in Elsevier adopted that method. And let's look at how they did that. Now, this is the Prisma flow diagram. And yes. Okay, these are the studies. Let me enlarge this. These are the studies they use. And when they were going to talk about their analysis, I want to go to that place where they explain what they use. All right, this is it. They use Pareto analysis. And what is Pareto analysis? The Pareto principle simply means that 20% of effort contributes the most to the output. So even much more than the 80%. So what did they do? They counted the number of times that the most cited articles. Look at the thing they want to find out. Let me just use what they want to know is let's look at the title. We'll see what I'm talking about. They want to know the 4 DBIM benefits in construction projects. That is building information modeling. They want to find out what is the 4D BIM benefit in construction projects. So what did they do? They gather lot of articles. This is about 69 articles. And when they were going to come up with, what type of benefits that BDM has when it comes to construction, what they used was frequency, as you can see. And they try to find out that these are the constructs that came up, meaning visualization and communication contribute most are those benefits that occur most in the articles they downloaded, and they group them into those. These are the benefits. This is the first benefit, this is the second benefit, this is the third, up until the last one, which is advanced technology integration. What were they bringing out here? They use mode. That's what I'm alluding to all along, to determine that. So why did I come to this? We came to this to actually tell that when it comes to numbers, your mastery of how you can use them to tell your story really matters. So that is just that about that. So pay attention as we look at this one after the other. While presenting your results, present the main findings. That's where we started from. Present the numbers and statistics as required. Statistics could be in form of inferential, it could be in form of descriptive. Table. If you need a table to show anything, you have to make use of table to tell the story. The fact remains that table tells a lot of stories that text may not be able to tell. You all know that. And of course, the use of charts is also very important, particularly when they are going to show patterns, when they are going to show directions. So it is important to include results that are major and those that are less major. But the fact remains that it is good to focus on those that are major. If you want to report your findings or your results, if in a particular research questions, you have about 5 answers to that question, you can make use of the first 3, and soft pedal on the other ones, or do not even include them at all, provided those 3 can tell the story adequately. While presenting your results, there is no need for interpretation, no need for comparison with other studies. There's no need telling the story about your own opinion or what you feel, only what the data is saying. So, and there is no need bringing in methods. Method ends at the materials and method section or methodology section or method section, the name, whatever name we give to it. So, it is always good that when we are starting, when you want to start writing the results section, to bring to mind what exactly you intend to do or you have done. What you are trying to find out. I beg your pardon. Let the opening statement, it is ideal. I know a lot of people don't do that. But the nice thing will have been that when you are presenting your results, find a way of making the reader to have your question or your objective in mind. Because for example, if you are writing a very long article, you can be very sure that it is possible that the reader, be it the editor, be it the reviewer, even the reader, might have lost connection with your research aim or objective. So at the beginning of your result or findings, have a way of crafting the first statement in a way that will bring to mind what you are trying to achieve. This also goes to those who are writing thesis, masters and PhD students. Don't expect your examiners to go back to your chapter 1 to find out what you want to achieve. Remember, this individual, your examiner, will have read about 120 pages of your work. Now, and the very first place where he read about your objective or what you want to achieve with your research question hypothesis is in page 4 or page 5. Now he's reading page 120. It's most likely he has forgotten what you are talking about or what you want to achieve. The same thing goes for article. So find a way of refreshing your reader's mind as to what you want to write, you are writing about, and where you are driving at. Very, very important. It's a skill. Let your reader have a fresh mind. Give them refresh their mind about the purpose, the goal of your article. So look at this. For example, in health sciences, the author says, we examine whether the new drug reduces blood pressure, or this study explore if the new drug reduces blood pressure. Patients receiving the drug show lower blood pressure rather. Can you see that? So before the presentation of the results, the aim is presented. And you see, this aim, the way it's being presented here, if you go to the chapter 1 or the introduction of this work, the research objective or the research question will be, can so and so drug, or does so and so drug reduce blood pressure among so and so patients? So the moment you want to start writing, reframe your research question in a way that it becomes the leading statement in the presentation of your results. Is an excellent way to begin writing results. And of course, does that mean that this should be done only once? No. If you have three research objectives, make sure you convert each of them to an opening when you want to start presenting the results. Make them an opening that refreshes the reader's mind, so that they don't need to go back to your literature, to your the first 2 pages, or in thesis to your first 5 pages, flipping through about 150 pages. No. Very, very important. I want us to keep this in mind. And not only that, you can see that the statement that follows, we are going to look at different ways to present results. Shortly, you can present results using 3 different ways, or 4 thereabout. And you can see the first set of the results were presented in form of text. Though table, is a summary of what the table is saying or what the finding is saying, which can be found in the table that follows. But short text was used to describe the major finding. Okay? Then, for example, again, let's look at, that's medical science. Let's also look at how it applies also in agric. An opening, it says, we tested 3 fertilizer types on maize yield. Fertilizer A produced the highest yield, followed by fertilizer B and fertilizer C, as illustrated in figure 2. Okay, now you can see there is no analysis. Further analysis is like it's just telling the story the way it is. As I said earlier, those who are still new in research, they might begin to expand on what this means at this level. No, you don't do that. Present results alone. Some things seem so basic, but this is where majority of people miss it. Your opinion is not needed at this point. Tell the story the way it is. What about those in business and management? We analyze customer satisfaction across 4 service branches. Branch A had the highest satisfaction rating, 4.5 out of 5, while branch B had the lowest, as presented in table 2. So now you can see, excuse me, the opening refreshes the reader's mind about what you intend to do. The first one is talking about, if you read the first one, the agric, it will definitely, one can easily understand that what this person is trying to do is to test different fertilizer types on maize yield. The one on business will definitely bring to mind that, what this person is looking at is customer service, how they vary across branches. Customer satisfaction, how they vary across 4 service, branches. So the point we are making here is at the opening of your results session, there is a need for you to refresh the mind of the reader. However, let me just state this at this point. In many cases, this may be after you have presented your demographic or your descriptive statistics. Your descriptive statistics might come first. I was trying to look, let me see if I can get an article to display for that purpose. Just a minute. Just a moment. I'm trying to see an example so that we can look at it together. All right. Okay. Now, I want us to look at what we have on the screen right now. You see, this study shows, it starts with the results here, but you can see that they started with the background characteristics of the respondents, where they gave descriptive statistics in words now of those who were involved. This is it. This descriptive statistic was given in form of text. It can also be presented in numbers. So, because you cannot do that in the methodology session, you can only do that in results session. So, some people prefer to use text in prose form, while some will use table. So, it is after the presentation of the descriptive statistics that the author now proceeded to start answering the question one after the other. Okay? Now, if you look at how they started, they said, let me increase this, please, in case it's so small. I'm sorry. When they want to start reporting, and please have something in mind, that this title that we see here is a response to a research objective or a research question. The point I am trying to make here is that while presenting your result must respond in the order of your research aim and objective or question or hypothesis or postulation, whatever it is. It has to follow that order. So what you have here written in form of a title is another way of reframing the first research question to tell the story that the data is telling. Hence, mere looking at the title, you will know that it is crafted in a way that says urban fringe development and its influence on small ruminant production. If you go up to get the title of this work, you will see, look at the title. Rearing livestock on the edge of secondary cities, examining small ruminant production on the fringes of Wa in Ghana. Okay? So if we check now, if we have the time, I don't want us to waste, what is it called now? All right, look at it. This is what I'm saying. So you see, it says, however, studies in WA have not paid attention to the impact of fringe development on small ruminant keeping. So what do they want to find out? That is exactly, the aim of the study is key. So what do they do? When they were going to start with their results, you can see the way it's being presented. Here. Sorry, yeah. You see this? Urban fringe development and its influence on small ruminant production. Now you can see the way the presentation of result respond to the research question or the research aim or objective. So you see, and they also have it presented in form of table. Look at this. So they started with explanation, with the description of the demographic description of those who were involved, and they move further to pick the first research question. That is just the basic thing I want us to get. They respond to the first research question by giving it a title, and that title, resonates with that question. So anybody who is reading, you can see that this style is different from the previous one. Anybody who is reading will know that, okay, this person is talking about this. This is what he wants to achieve. And whatever result is presented is speaking to that team, particularly those of us who are writing qualitative articles. So you will have to, the essence of teams in qualitative article, we can call this team now. Some people will call this team, this part, they will call it team 1 because it's responding to question 1. But if they don't do it that way, there is no error committed. So long the title is thematized, is a team that every other results we speak to, it is still fine. So regardless of your field, whether you are in engineering, whether you are in physical sciences, whether you are in health and medical science, health and life science, whether you are in, what again now, social sciences, whether you are in humanity, it is very important that when you want to start presenting your result, ensure that you bring to mind what you wanted to do based on your research objective, and tell the story, using some of these styles, or one of these styles that we have just talked about. Let's go back to our to our presentation. Now, when you want to tell your story, ensure that you lead. State what you want to say or what the finding is, and allow table or figure to back it up as evidence. And try as much as possible to use a chart that will be simple for you to answer the research question. Don't overcomplicate things. Then the use of label, annotations, and of course the ordering pattern should be such that you don't bring a table before you discuss it. No, you talk about the table or the figure before you bring the table. And the way we express this, the way we express their functionality also needs styles. There are ways to mention table and figure that are not professional. We'll get into that. So make sure there are no clutters, meaning there are not too much of information that can confuse the reader. It is possible, for example, somebody called me 2 days ago. The person was writing systematic literature review and he was using my article as a model. So in my article, I show some information, where I use bar chart, pie chart. I made sure that the X and Y axis in some cases did not only tell the story, I also brought about labels that carry percentages. So the person got there and the person was unable to bring out those figures. So I have to put the person through. So while it is important for you to display or depict certain information, be very sure you are able to strike a balance between that and creating a clutter, meaning that not making your work, not making interpretation difficult. We should strike a balance between the two. That's just the point. So there are 3 ways you can present your data. Number 1 is through text. Number 2 is through table. Number 4 is through visual. If you are using table, it is good for explanation. Context, single numbers, which are not, Then, particularly if you want to talk about the average temperature, if the numbers, for example, look at what we saw here. I talked about something recently. Let me just look at that. Okay, you can use text. You can see that the presentation you have here, though a table is still involved, but text has been used to explain or summarize what the table actually contains. So you can use text to summarize data, to present data, when what you are presenting are not bogus, when the figures are not many. That is the point I'm trying to make. But when the figures are many, when the numbers are many, you can't use table. So you can't use text. So as you can see, use text when the numbers are not many. Then use table when there's a need for you to present the exact values when there are many, to make comparison, and when there are multiple measures. For example, showing test score for 5 classes with different details. You will need a table, not a text. You cannot do that effectively through a test. The reader will get confused or get lost. Then the visuals is another type, which can be a chart or a graph. They are very good when you are presenting a data where you need to show pattern, trend, or you want to make somebody to have a quick understanding of what you are saying. Like I said when we started, this might seem so basic, but remember, your data analyst is after his own money. Your data analyst may not want what you want, may not be interested in what you are interested in. The amount of information the data analyst gives to you is what you are going to be left with and work with if you don't know what is the best thing to represent what I want to express. And like I said, if your data analyst is the one that writes chapter 4 and chapter 5 for you, you are at the mercy of such person. You don't know what is wrong and what is right. So it is important for you to get to know some of those basic things that we are talking about. So, example, when you want to use graph to show temperature rising over 12 months, visual will be the best to do that, much more than what a table will do. So which one should you use? What you will use, the one you will use out of these three is a function of your research question and how you want the readers to understand what you are presenting. Very, very important. So, of course, for those of us who are doing qualitative study, you can use text in this form, as you can see on the screen. And you see, after those who are doing qualitative study may understand what I mean by coding and quotes. These are different quotations from different participants that they interviewed. And now, the best way they can present the result is through text. But those texts are brought together. Those are texts that are speaking the same thing. That all the speakers, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, those 6 individuals, they alluded to the same thing. I don't know if you are getting my point. They alluded to the same thing. And what they alluded to, they are also, these things in totality, they are responding to a research objective or a research question. So basically this evening, what we have been able to discuss is the fact that 1, how you start your introduction, your results section matters. If you want to do demographic presentation, do it briefly, speak to what it means, move to the presentation of the result in a manner that responds to your research question. But before doing that, find a way of refreshing the mind of your research, of your reader. And not only that, if you are presenting results, there are 3 ways to present it: a chart, a table, or text. Choose the one that is appropriate for you. You can make use of any of the 3, provided they will serve your purpose. That is how far we have gone. Just to refresh your mind. Let me open the mic for a moment for possible question or a need for clarification. Just 1 minute. Hello everyone. I can see Agatha, hands out. Dr. Agatha, your hands is up. Any question, please? All right. Hello, please, are you hearing me? No response.
Yes, we are with you, sir.
All right, thank you.
We are with you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, sir. So, table structure. Yeah, if you are making use of table must have columns, it must have data, the row and columns. The way they are formatted in journals differs. So please adapt to the journal's requirements. Some will not allow you to have vertical lines, some will not allow you to have horizontal lines, whatever it is, please adapt to it and ensure the tell story coherent with your study. Another way of presenting is through charts. Bar. This bar charts. Bar chart can be used when you are making comparison. It is a good way of presenting data. And of course, if you want to talk about trend, you want to show trend, wow, line charts will be much more appropriate. And ensure that if you are using line charts, ensure that it all starts from 0, the x and the y axis, and the color you use are distinct. And some journals will tell you this is the resolution we want. So when you are saving your data, saving your charts, ensure they correspond with that chart, with that DPI, the resolution. And of course, here is a scatter chart. A scatter chart enables to present a relationship, especially those who are doing correlation studies. You will find out that this will tell the story better than any form of visual that you may have. So the type of study you are carrying out will determine the type of chart you are going to make use of. Whether you want to use pie charts, bar charts, scatter plots, whatever you want to present, or whatever it is that is your aim, will determine the one that is most appropriate. This talks about distribution. If you want to find out what distribution, maybe for example, if you want to look at a disease, for example, what is the spread of this disease in a particular location, we can use this to achieve. We can use box plots to achieve distribution. Okay, then we move from there to when exactly do you use text? When do you use text? If you want to tell a story, go ahead and make use of, especially when you are doing qualitative study, make use of text. If what you want to express is not more than 3 numbers, go ahead and use text to express, as we have seen earlier. So these are just basic. We understand some of these things. So let's make use of text when it is necessary, and use table when necessary and chart when necessary. So when we are using a chart, for example, using text in some discipline such as health, agric, and business, and even computer science, these are examples of how you can use text to describe data. We have seen some of this earlier on. And when not to use text, don't use text when you have many numbers. Don't use text when numbers are many. Use table. When you are showing a trend over a period of time, graph is most appropriate. When you are comparing many categories, chart will get the job done. So how about table? When do you make use of table? Use table when you want to prove, when you want to present table exactly in a way that you want the numbers, when the numbers matters to you, the figures, particularly those in engineering, those in medical sciences. Numbers will do the work. But those in social sciences, sometimes text may do the work, will get the job done. So when you have multiple variables that you want to show, table will be appropriate. And also, if you want to show specific numbers, you want values that you want the reader to pay attention to a particular value, specific value. For example, if you want to if those in engineering want to show the level of efficiency, the difference, number is important. Those in business science, difference analysis, you need numbers. So it doesn't mean that other fields cannot use it, but it depends on what you want to achieve per time. If number of specific value is what is of paramount importance, please use that. Okay? And of course, if you want to show details in a way that you want to bring about comparison, it will be easy to see through the table. All right? When do you make use of visual? You make use of visual when you want to make patterns to be obvious. That is, I want people to see it, like we saw in the trend in the previous charts. So use visual when you want to show patterns or trend. Okay? And when you need immediate visual impact, you want that reader to see exactly what you're saying. A picture tells a story much more than text will do, hundreds of times, much more. So when you are comparing group visuals, it is important. For example, sometimes you see people in engineering, they will have a chart. Sorry, they will have charts that are about 4 in a single figure, meaning that at that point they are trying to compare. Let me see if I can get a sample. Just a minute. Just 1 minute, please. I want to show an example. Okay. Now, when we look at the study that we have online, on the screen right now, you see, this is just one figure, but the figure has 3 different figures in one figure, as in 3 different charts in one figure. So comparisons are made here. So there are 3 different pictures, and what they want to find out is the influence of temperature on leaching process using different elements: copper, iron, and sulfuric acid concentration. So they brought these 3 on the screen to make a comparison of how temperature make a difference in them. So when you are doing a comparison, you can make use of charts. It's much more appropriate for that purpose. Okay. Back to our work, and what are the advantages of the use of visual? Of course, people understand fast. What you want to talk about, the pattern is obviously seen. Then people can remember that number, and of course, it makes it easier to consume your data. Let's move to the other parts. So, for you to decide what is the best for you, this is just a quick guide that you need to understand. If you want to make comparison, use bar charts. If you want to show change over time, line graph. If you want to show relationship, scatter plot. If you want to show parts of a whole, a pie chart will be fine. I believe everybody know what a pie chart is. Then your distribution. If you want to show distribution, use histogram or box plot. Either of the two will get the job done. So what are the basic statistical analysis principles that we need to bear in mind while writing our articles? we need to understand that there are two types of analysis. We have the descriptive analysis and inferential statistics, which we have alluded to earlier on, and of course the other one is the predictive statistics. The first two are common and they have been used for a very long time. Even predictive also has always been used for a very long time, but the advent of AI is making it, particularly machine learning, is making it more interesting these days. So if what you want, if your work borders on prediction, then predictive statistics will be much more appropriate. And for those in social sciences, not only social sciences, inferential statistics apply across board, while descriptive statistics also apply across board. So it depends on what you are doing. Your study is what will determine which one will be appropriate for you. So like I said when I started, it's so basic and so funny that the use of basic statistics can still are still upheld even in article writing, no matter how basic they might sound. So if you are doing descriptive statistics, you will have things like the average, the median, the range, the standard deviation, and these are the things you will have in those sections to describe whatever descriptive analysis you want to do. But if you want to, they are for descriptive purpose, but as the name implies. But if you want to make inference, things that cannot be plainly seen from the data, but you want to just reason and inductively to bring about an interpretation of what those figures are saying, then you make use of inferential statistics. So, such as t-test, a comparison between two groups, ANOVA of variance between two or more, and of course correlation between two. Correlation is useful between two variables, and you also want to find out if there are differences between these groups. If they are similar, you want to know any relationship. Is it positive or negative? So these are the things we need to pay attention to while interpreting what the analyst has given us, or when we are interpreting the data. That those who can interpret data have no problem understanding this, but those who do not know how to interpret or analyze data, they need basic understanding of these things, so that when they have data in their hands, they can interpret it, even though they are not the one that analyze the data. So we have alluded to a bit of this. So talking about mean now, mean is an average, median, is the middle number. And I just decided to put this. I won't take you all through this because they are basic to us, but I just decided to put it there, at least for the sake of explanation to those who may not understand, and at the same time to refresh our mind. So some of these things, I just want us to look at how they appear in studies when we are writing. They may look so basic, but the purpose they serve in our writing really matters. For example, in health sciences, if if they want to find out things like the recovery time and have of the average time it takes for individual to recover, maybe after administering a particular medication. So you can see, as basic as mean looks like or sound, it has come to play here. For example, if they administer that medication on 500 individuals, they want to find out, okay, the rate at which individual can recover over time might be different. So if somebody recover after 20 days, another person recover after 5 days, another person after 3 days, another person after 50 days. Of course, that is if there are medications that can be applied for that long period of time anyway. But let's just say within 3 days, for example, or within, it can even be longer. It can be longer than 3 days. So if we have such, and they want to find out what is the efficacy of this drug or medication, over this number of people. They cannot base that decision on the fastest person to recover. They might not be able to base it on the person at the middle. Let's say the first person recovers after 3 days, the second person after 7 days, the last person after 15 days. They can't base it on either of these 3 recovery time. An average have to be found, and that is the purpose of the mean. So now you see where mean, as basic as it sounds, prove a point and serve a purpose beyond being basic. It informs decision at that level. Of course, the standard deviation talks about what is the spread from the average. Meaning that, okay, now we have different people. We have 8 days, we have 4 days, we have 3 days, we have 9 days, and all that. How far are they from the middle? So, as basic as some of the things we are talking about might sound, they may serve a major purpose in our analysis when we are presenting results. Because if the research question says, how long does it take, or at what rate did patients respond or recover from so-so ailments after the administration of so-so drug over a period of so-so time, the use of mean becomes important, because the average will tell the story. But the problem with mean, sometimes average, is that sometimes if the figures are not evenly distributed, or if the distribution is not even or not good enough, the use of average may become an issue, because the person that recovered, if the recovery time is, the majority is 3 days, 7 days, and 15 days, and we now have another one that is saying 45 days, it might give us a wrong result, or we may not be able to base our result on that, because outlier exists. So in business, the average employee salary is 65,000, but the median is this. As simple as median might be, suggesting a few high earners skew the average upward. Okay? So, the previous one also, we're able to deduce something from there to say that the median was 11 days, indicating more patients took much longer time to recover. The last one, mean crop yield was 5.0 tons per hectare. The range is 3.2 to 8.1 and all that. You can see the range, meaning from that range, we can deduce that it's showing considerable variation across plots. So these are the ways that the basic statistics might inform our writing when we are presenting results in the presentation section. So we start with, it depends on what your research question is what will determine how you are able to make use of these basic statistics. They may speak volume to your research questions. Not only when we use sophisticated form of analysis. Basic research statistics can tell a story, can mean a lot, and inference can be made from it. So, inferential statistics, if you want to make decision, you need to actually find out what question do you want to answer. Very important. If what you want to find out is whether something happened per chance or happened because of perchance, or it's just a random thing, there is a need for you to make use of inferential statistics, because in inferential statistics there are parameters that must hold before you can decide. That is, if this parameter holds. For example, the effect size, the level of significance, they must hold at a reasonable level, or whatever level they hold. It is based on that you can decide, you can make a judgment that, okay, from what we are seeing, there is a statistical significance in these results. But does that mean that, for example, if a study is carried out within 100 people and the results show is a positive, significance, does that mean that result, the effect it pulls within that 100 people, can it pull the same effect among a larger number of people? If no, even though it's statistically significant, there is still a concern of whether that particular result is applicable in another context, a bigger one for that matter. And that is why when we're talking about inferential statistics, there are parameters we have to pay attention to. What about confidence interval? All these are very necessary when it comes to the use of inferential statistics. We talk about p-value in most cases, which is the probability that a particular result will happen again. And these are the parameters that in most cases research do allude to or hold true for interpretation of results. If we want to find out that a result, whether a result is due to probability or not, or for chances or random, the most often used benchmark are the p-values. So, and the way they apply across fields sometimes differs. Those in medical science use 0.01, while in social sciences 0.05 is acceptable. And of course, because of the human involvement and the need to be very precise and extremely sure. That is why that happens in health sciences. So in research, we have p-values, with different interpretation. If it is 0.01, it simply means that, in less than 0.1%, can we get this as a result of chance? Meaning that if your result is less than 0.01, it simply means that it is only in 1% of cases that we can have it to chance, and we can say the evidence is very strong. And as you can see on the screen, the rest follows. Of course, in social sciences, like I said, 0.05 is what is always used just to to arrive at a decision. And what it does is that it tells if in the actual fact there is a difference, but the effect, when it comes to how big the effect is, it doesn't tell us that. So when we are writing our articles, let's pay attention to all these things. When an analyst gives us the result, we should be able to tell and interpret them accordingly. So which one should I use out of all this when I'm doing an inferential statistics? Well, you need to find out, what are you comparing? Are you comparing groups, or are you comparing two groups or more? If you are comparing two groups, then a t-test we do, that is comparison between two groups. For example, do students taught online score higher than in-person students? This is very important. If you are comparing two groups, for those of us who are in medical science, if the group you are comparing are two, use t-test. Okay? If you are comparing more than two groups, more than two or three, use ANOVA. Analysis of variance will be much more important. And even those who are across all fields, this form of inferential statistics apply across fields, not only in one field, because you may want to make comparison between 2 or 3 things. So, or 3, yeah, it could be 3 groups, it could be 3 elements, whatever it is that you want to make comparison among. Then, if there are more than 2, ANOVA will get the job done. Then, if you want to look at relationship between 2 different variables, correlation or regression will do the job. Of course, correlation will tell you there is a relationship, either positive or negative correlation, and regression analysis will also get the job done in terms of to what degree does this variable contribute, and that this we have dependent and independent variable. To what degree does this dependent variable among other variables contributes to the outcome of this dependent variable. So, if you are comparing category, chi-square will be fine. Chi-square will be fine. So, we are trying to bring our mind to the fact that there is a need for us to know and understand what type of statistics is suitable for what and at what level, and which one is appropriate, which one is not appropriate, which one help us to determine this, which help us not to determine it, so that we can go for the right form of statistical analysis method, and where to use them, even if we are using what's it called now? Sorry. A particular type of research approach, whether qualitative, quantitative, or the mixed method. And even those who are not even using any, whatever method you want to use, so long what you are doing has to do with statistics, you will still have to go ahead and make a choice out of all this. So, in different fields, we have them apply, as you can see on the screen. For example,
Yes, but
hello? Okay. So, in health sciences, for example, if a research question is saying, does the new drug reduce blood pressure more than the placebo? Now, it simply means that there are 2 groups. One is a control group, while the other one is the group where the intervention is carried out. So if we are carrying out an analysis between the 2 of them now, also if you want to carry out an analysis based on the result you get from the 2 groups, t-test is the most appropriate. What about those in agric? If you want to find out that, okay, if we apply 3 different types of fertilizer to 3 different plots, can there be any difference in their yield? Now you find out that in this case we have 3 groups now that we want to compare. ANOVA will get the job done. So, what about those in business and management? If you want to find out if there is a relationship between the number of training hours and the productivity that people have, the productivity that people bring forth, as in what their productivity is after the training. If you want to find out if training contributes to productivity, a correlation will be fine. Because what you want to know is that, okay, an increase in training, does it attract an increase in productivity? Those in computer science, do you want to find out if there is a difference between the processing speed of an algorithm? You want to find out, okay, we have 3 different algorithms and we want to use them to process the same amount of data. How do I arrive at this? There's a need for you. You can make use of one-way ANOVA. It will get the job done. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the screen. That's the end of the PowerPoint presentation, and let us look at how some of these are in reality. Um, just a minute. For the purpose of those, or not only those in engineering, you will find out that though in some cases you will see that you have results and discussion together written this way, but you will find out that at the while presenting, they come with the result first. They present the results before going to the discussion session. So now, if you look at this study, it states result and discussion. Leaching mechanism without acid. The time, now it went to say, this is like, if you look at this is responding to the research, one of the research aims, okay, or the objectives that are broken down. While presenting your results, make sure that it's presented in a way that you have titles, if possible. If possible. It's not a rule of thumb. But when your work has title, it makes it easy to understand for whoever is reading. So, mere reading that leaching mechanism without acid, and the individual now comes, the author now say thermodynamically feasible and spontaneous of leaching reaction. Now, you will find out that this calls to mind, it calls to attention, that this is what this individual wants to achieve at this point. And every other thing that follows from the very first line is pointing to the fact that this is what this person wants to do, and that is, that refreshes the mind of the reader. So it says, in order to determine the thermodynamic feasibility and spontaneity of the chemical reaction for the leaching of valuable metal from CPSSC, it is necessary to calculate the probability of its process under the conditions for the leaching of valuable metal and all that. So, and now you can see, before we could say Jack, the table is presented to tell the story of what that person wants to do. So the table is mentioned for further analysis, and not only that, mentioned before the table is presented, like I said the other time, this is table 2. So when you are presenting your results, if there's anything we are getting from this evening class, beyond the basic statistics, is the fact that at the beginning of that presentation, make sure that you bring your research question, you find a way of bringing your research question to mind. And now flow from there. If you want to do table, let table follows. If you want to do figure, let figure follows. And don't interpret, just tell the story the way it is. Then from there, when you are done with that, you can now start the discussion session. Okay? I'm trying to see where the discussion session is in this study. So the discussion session can now come where you will now begin to use literature to support or to back up whatever you have found out, whether it corroborates existing literature or it is at variance with them. Okay? And like I said also earlier on, it is possible for you to have both the presentation of results and the discussion together at the same time. It is quite possible. So if that is what your article, your journal is dictating, please follow the trend. And if not, make use of what they, okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get something. Make use of follow their convention. Is this article or another one? Okay. All right. This article now combine the two. Yeah. The article combined the two because what you have here is a citation, but they made, okay, this is a citation also, that is in engineering. Let's look at another study as we begin to round up. Okay, this is the study we saw earlier on. Let me increase the size. This is where the results started from, and they have it, in form of they have teams, meaning that they have titles. These titles speak to the research question or the aim. That is just what I'm trying to say, supported by tables. Even though this study is a qualitative study, they still have a way of presenting their data in table form, other than being in prose form, which people are really used to. And each of the subheading that we can see that I highlighted, they are all responses to research questions and objectives. And eventually you see they have a discussion session. It is at the discussion session they now began to allude to the results one after the other. They did not repeat the results, but they were interpreting and supporting with literature. This is how to present the findings section of our articles when we are writing. I will open the mic right now for question because our time is fast spent. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask your question. Hello? Hello? Mr. Sunday Osagede, or Dr. Sunday, sorry.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the training. In the course of the training, you said you should present the results first before we now use text to put explanation at or explain it first before we now bring in the table if we are going to use table.
Yes.
But sometimes if you have several parameters that you want to explain as you have the numbers, you
Okay.
want to use text to explain that number. Maybe number one, you put what it is and then you include the data in it. Then you go to the other one, you explain it and then you put the data. If you are going to explain performance, for example, you
Okay.
achieve so number of it. Can't you do it like that, or you have to put it in the table and then explain it, then you now bring down the table. And secondly, I've seen somebody make presentation and they will tell him not to begin to repeat what is already on the table or on the chart. That if there are other information you want to bring in, you should bring in, not to repeat. How do you ensure you don't keep repeating what you already have on the chart or on the table at the bottom?
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if I got your first question correctly, but I got the second one correctly. Let me start from the second one, then maybe you can reframe the question, the first question. It is not expected of you to repeat what is in the table verbatim. Rather, what you need to do is to state the significance, as in what the table depicts. Oh, let me see if I can have an example to show. What it means is that, for example, if a study is conducted and you have different results across different categories of respondents, what should matter and now you present the table the way it is. Let's say you have about 5 or 6 categories, meaning that you have 6 rows, and of course you will have columns. So each row contains the category of people or the category of element or whatever it is that you categorize. Now there will be values in each column against those rows. Okay? If you want to, meaning let's just take for instance, let's say you have 5 rows and you have 4 columns. It simply means you are going to have 20 numbers in that table. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. You are not expected to start mentioning each of those and each of the figures. Rather, if what you want to find out is, for example, the example I gave the other time, that a drug was, let's say a drug was applied on different categories of patients: diabetic patients, high blood pressure patients, those with cardiovascular disease, and those this and that. So you have those 5 categories, and now you now bring the result. What you want to find out is that how do these patients respond to how do they respond to this treatment? Now already you have 20 figures. If you have 20 figures, what you want to know is, if you are reporting that table, you can't just put the table. It is not acceptable in research that you put a table without explanation, a figure without explanation. All you need to do is that allude to, okay, when this table, according to as shown in table 2 or table 1, diabetic patients respond faster as compared to cardiovascular disease patients who did not. Do you get what I'm saying now? You can see now that I am not repeating the table, but I have made a summary of what that table depicts. So the reader can now choose to find out how does each patient's category respond to that. But what I have just done is I put the table there, 20 different figures, but I have said what is most important, and of course the least set of candidates, patients that respond to that drug. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you. So I didn't get your first question very well.
Now, the first one is, if you are going to use, can you use both text and numbers together at the same time?
Both text. I didn't get that.
Yes, if you are going to do your analysis now.
Okay.
You are analyzing number. You are analyzing a situation that requires you to also include numbers in it, without necessarily bringing out the numbers to show it as a result and then make explanation of what those results are. If you are to analyze a situation that requires you to include numbers in your analysis together with the text, can you combine it?
You can combine it, but as we said during the training, when your numbers are becoming much, using text to explain them will be clumsy and it won't tell the story, because if those numbers matters to you and you want them to be distinct and seen, the best tool to use, or the best method, is to use table. If numbers are becoming much, switch to table. Let table tell the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Do we have any other question? Hello, house? There's silence in the house. Dr. Ephraim?
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Yes.
Dr. Ephraim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I just want to give an observation as regards to the class we had on Monday and Wednesday. I don't know your schedule, but it has not been up uploaded. So I will plead with you to kindly help us to upload it so that we can go through it over and over and have a better understanding of the class. Then also you promise to give us this material that has to do with benchmarking introduction in high impact journals, whereby you cited some few samples of introduction, problem, statement, and the gaps. So please
Okay.
help us with that, sir.
Thank you. Regarding the videos, there are some, we are trying to, it will have been up by now, but there were some things we are trying to sort out about it. We'll make it available any moment from now. Till this evening, we're still working on it, but we'll make it available. Apology for the late availability of the material. Yes. As for the structure, like I said, I don't know if you joined earlier today, we made it, we were saying that the article builder platform that we have also provide the same information regarding how introduction and different parts of the article should flow. No problem. Thank you for reminding me about that. We will see to that, and we will upload it also to the material session, the resource section of the platform, so that everybody can download it.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the last question correctly, but my own dashboard, I don't know. I was glad that the last videos that we did, I've not been uploading there. I've not been seeing it.
That's what I just said. We had a bit of things to sort out with the video. That's what we are trying to do till this evening. But yes, any moment from now, it will be uploaded. The two of them will be uploaded. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, in the absence of further questions, we may have to go and rest now for tonight and meet and get ready for Monday class.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. The literature review and the abstract that you asked that we have to write. Yes. I was looking at it because when I was looking for materials, sourcing for materials, one thing I have challenged with it because some of the material I collected before writing, at the end of the day, as I'm writing, I begin to see that some of them do not really align with what I want to say. It's just like if you are trying to lay foundation for a house and you put one peg at the front and you stretch it at the back, you see that it did not straight up. Then you have to go and remove it. I have to be changing some materials, and it takes me time to source for those materials. I don't know how many materials, citations is necessary for each of these sessions, like for introduction, for question and hypothesis, objective, literature review. How many citations do I need to include so that I know at the end of the day I know the target citations I'm expecting to have for the whole of the paper I'm going to write?
As a matter of,
I don't know if you can help us.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if you can help us put it whether in a document how many citations and then how many words per each of these sessions.
Okay, if I may respond to your question, and if I got it correctly, there is no specific amount or number of citations you can have at introduction. what can determine the number of citations you have at different sections of an article is the type of article you are writing, one. Two, what is the if it is a journal that requires or that specify number of words, if they are strict about it, you will have to adhere by it. Because the question you ask, there is no yes or no answer to it. I will explain better. You see, there are some journals that will tell you that the introduction should be about 800 words. Basically, you can have between 500 and 800 or 1000 at most. If that happens, it means you are going to have more citation. If you are doing between 800 and 1000 words, you have more citation. And what will determine your citation is how you are able to structure it. For example, if at the introduction you start with your hook, and your hook is one paragraph, you can use 2 or 3 or 4. It all depends on the number of authors that agree to what you are saying at that point in time. If you move from there and you talk about the importance or the research gap, it depends on, you are the one that will use your discretion to say, okay, this is the number of authors I want to use to support the point I'm making here. Now you move from there to the gap. If you want to start talking about the gap, how many studies do I want to cite to prove the point that my study will fill these gaps, or these studies have done this, they have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and yet they have not filled the gap. Are you citing 4 authors or 3 authors? But basically, citation of about 4 authors or 5 should be fine around that area when you are establishing your gap. And I explained earlier that you don't need, there are 2 ways to go about it. You can write and you can categorize them and just highlight that gap. That is that about that. And when you are talking about literature, the number of citations you can have in the introduction, it also depends on whether you want to do a literature review in the introduction section. Can you see this now? So there is no, if you don't want to do literature review at introduction session, it simply means that you will move other citations to literature review session. It now depends on how you structure that article. So there is no singular answer to it. There is no yes or no answer. The structure is what we determine, and what the article also accepts. Find out if they are not strict on the number of words that should be in each section. Very, very important. So study the journal you want to write for and submit to, and see what prevails there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Professor Dr. Timothy, good evening, sir.
Hey, doctor.
Good evening, sir.
My one is not a question really.
All right, sir.
But it's a form of appreciation.
Thank you, sir.
I've been able to download some of those material that are uploaded on our dashboard.
All right, sir.
And I so much appreciate the richness of the material, and also your effort in helping us to get to where you want us to get. So I really so much appreciate it. But all the same, I want to also appeal to you. You might notice that some of us have not submitted our assignment.
Yes, sir.
For some of us, our itinerary have been very, very tight. So please, bear with us. We'll do it, make our time to ensure that we submit all those assignments. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your commendation. We don't take it for granted. And it's our pleasure to have you join us. It's a very great pleasure to us. And so also every other person. We appreciate everyone. Thank you so much, sir. We'll still extend the time. Yes, sir. We'll extend the time for submission, and we'll see how it goes. We understand people are busy. Almost everybody is busy with one thing or the other, and working class among us are just almost everybody is a working class. Is in working class. So writing an article sometimes can be a challenge, because we need a settled mind, and it also takes time. But we just want to make sure that people start something. Very, very important. No matter what, they just kickstart something, and at the end of the day, even if we could not finish it, we can continue with it at our own pace. I think that will be fine if you have a kickstart, a very good kickstart.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. So, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has participated in this class tonight, and I wish us a happy night rest as we meet on Monday. Good night to everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good night, sir.
Good night. Thank you very much, sir. Good night, sir.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Right.